I was kind of singing, but not really. Today we'll have a look at something interesting. This is a new brand of Swiss Army knife that La Corne de Comte will be carrying. Not just La Corne de Comte, but La Corne de Comte was carrying this, and they sent me one, which I think is very interesting, because I like Swiss Army knives. I'm weird, I've always enjoyed them. But this I particularly like. Wenger, there was always two brands, right? There was Victorinox or Victorinox, and there was Wenger. Long story short, Wenger ceased to be, and a couple of people from Wenger went to Swiza, which already made clocks, and they said, we have a great idea, we're going to make some cool knives. And those knives, they had ideas for quite a while, couldn't really bring them to fruition. Went to Swiza, they did, and now you have a whole new type of Swiss Army knife, which I think is very cool. First of all, they're relatively affordable. Not super cheap, but I think for the quality you get, definitely not too terrible. So, I spent a morning with the distributor of these knives, and that was a very pleasant morning. And he gave me this one, and he gave me a couple more show models to show you. Swiza. Okay, this is the box. This is a separate case you buy when you get the knife, so you don't get that with the knife. You typically buy the knife like this, but you can buy a gift package. And when you do, you have to fiddle around a bit with that. This is in there. That's a little coin. And that little coin is an old tradition that when someone gives you a knife, you give them a coin, so it's not to cut off the friendship. So I wanted to give this to Jack, the distributor, but he said, yeah, I agree, but maybe keep it so you can show it in the review. So we're still friends, just so you know. Okay, now what about these knives? Currently there are 4 models. More models are coming up, but... Sorry, I'm trying to get it out. There we go. This is one of them, okay? I can show you more, because I have more. But this is mine. And I like it. I think these knives have a lot of stuff going for them. Even though there's only 4 models right now, and even though they don't have the 60 functions that you can find on the Victorinox, they're working on it, but they have some cool stuff going. Okay, so what I want to do is show you these knives. Let me see, I'm trying to do this one by one. We have these two, and then we have those two. Right, okay. So the one I've just shown you was the D03, and the odd numbers here have a corkscrew, and the even numbers have a little screwdriver. Alright, so if you look at the D01, this is a type of that knife. They come in various colors, as you can see, but before we go into individual features, a couple of things that are interesting. First of all, a nice hard steel was used. Alright, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Second thing that I really like is, you see, these grooves to put your nails in are just holes. With Victorinox knives, the holes are always, they have little nail grooves. If you've ever used one of those knives, I love them. I think it's a fantastic brand, but I have broken more than one nail trying to open the tools, and they were very stiff, and there's a little groove, and then it doesn't, you know, it's hard to get out. All of these tools I've used are very smooth, but because these are holes, the nice thing is, not only can you easily open it up, but you can do it with left or right hands. So if you're a left-hander on a Victorinox knife, the grooves are always on the wrong side. Well, nice eye for detail. You get a knife. Overall, the tool is a little bit longer than the standard-sized Victorinox. You have a nice rubberized coating, which actually gives a very good grip, and the tools are a little thicker, and the little things in between, you can't really see that on this model, but you can see that here. The little plates in between the tools, yeah, you see it right there, instead of aluminum are actually stainless steel. So Swiza advertises that you can actually take these knives and put them in a dishwasher. I wouldn't really put knives in a dishwasher, but if you have done something terrible to it and it's horribly stained, etc., in theory, you could. Okay, so what's the final thing that I really like on this? The knife locks. I know there are Victorinox models now that have locking knives, but when they started, they didn't lock, and I like it in a knife, and it locks just because it's safer. This won't accidentally snap shut in your fingers, because they do come very, very sharp. I was pleasantly surprised by the sharpness of these tools. So, first of all, nice knife. Then you have an awl. Nice sharp little awl. small hole, and someone actually told me, actually not someone, Mr. Michael Ward, the calligrapher, who's also doing a lot of leather stuff, said this would not be very useful to me because the hole is so small you can't use a thicker yarn. Valid point, not something I would have thought up, but it's nice to have other experts' input in this kind of stuff. So you have your awl, and this awl is very sharp. A friend of mine came in, saw the knife, opened it, ran his finger along it, and was bleeding 5 minutes after entering my home. So, I mean, especially for an awl, really sharp. And you can use this to open parcels, for example. If you put your thumb on, you can see this is a nice, maybe you can see that, nice flat ridge. You can put your thumb on it, and if you run it across the tape, the knife or the awl won't penetrate too deeply because of your thumb, and you just cut through the tape. So that's quite nice. That's all the tools on this side. By the way, the knife lock, it is a liner lock, so you can try to move it with your finger here, but what you can also do, that's how you should do it, the cross is actually the unlocking button. I think that's very nice. So you press this, and then the knife folds back in. Neatly put away. Now we have the corkscrew, as I said, on these, the D01 and D03, you get the corkscrews, and whereas usually they have 4 winds, this actually has 5 windings. So the idea being that it has more purchase and it pulls out the entire cork without leaving a little useless little bit in there. So that's nice. And then the final tool is right there at the bottom. A nice pair of pincers, which are always useful. You know, take out thorns, splinters from your skin, etc. Nice thin compact knife. Now that's the 01 model. The 03 model looks the same, is the same height, but is thicker because it has additional tools. On the back it has nothing else. The only 2 tools that I really have to show you, because the rest is all the same knife, same locking mechanism, same pincers, etc. What you have here is a little can opener, which works well. I have tried it, and a small flathead screwdriver, which also worked pretty well. Alright, and then on the other side you have a larger flathead screwdriver, and you have a little wire stripper, and of course a bottle opener. So with this model you get quite some functionality, and also nice with the larger screwdriver. It doesn't just lock like this. Lock, not actually lock, but I mean it just kind of snaps shut in that place, but also there. So for screwing you can also use it like this, or you know, like this, whatever works. But that's nice that you have that option. With the small flathead, that does not work. You see, it doesn't really click in place. That was the 01 and the 03, and then you have the 2 and the 4. So this would be the 2. Same things as on the 1. So you have the big knife and you have the awl and nothing else on the front side. But this one, instead of having a corkscrew, actually has a large flathead screwdriver. Nothing fancy, but a pretty thick piece of steel, I must say, and that's it. So that would be the 2, and then the 4, same thing, but with the can opener and the bottle opener, large screwdriver, and also the large Phillips screwdriver. Okay, and then you've also seen 4 colors that they have right now: white, blue, black, and red. It's a very overcast day here. It's raining currently, so my camera is a little yellowish in white balance. I'm sorry, I don't have a professional recording studio, so the colors may be off a little bit, but that's it. Okay, well, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? This is mine. This is the one that I have. I've used it quite extensively, and I think it has some really cool stuff going for it. I love the lock. It's great, it's useful, and it works very well. It really keeps the knife in place. The second thing I like is with a Victorinox knife, typically you have the large ones, but with the standard, the red ones that everyone knows, you have a straight body and a straight knife. As you can see, on this model, there's actually a fairly natural curvature to it. And the nice thing, the advantage to that, is that if you are cutting, see my hand is kind of straight. The knife points down exactly at the area where you can do your cutting, especially where the blade rounds up a little bit at the end. I like that. Aesthetically, I like those grooves. I think the cutout holes work very well. They're also a nice shape. They're not just round. It works. It really works. A corkscrew, I personally don't drink, but you have other uses for that. For example, if you have a knot, a tight knot in a cord or something, you can wind this in. You can help to untangle that. So in that regard, there's also some use for that. I have recently I had actually a can of soup, because sometimes one has to eat when reviewing, and it had one of those little lips, you know, that you fold open and then you open the can and it snapped off. I hate it when that happens, but I use this. And I posted a video of that on my Instagram, of me using this thing to open the lid of the can. Was it super easy? No, it wasn't, but I did open up the soup can, so in that regard, pretty good. There you have it. I like it. Sharpness of the edge, very important in a knife. No complaints whatsoever. It's definitely a sharp blade. It's a nice size, not super large, but that's kind of nice. For example, when you're traveling. Although, and that's one issue here, of course you have to be careful, because it is a locking blade. You can't carry that in every country. I think the UK has currently banned these. I think there's an issue with it in Germany. So just, I mean, pretty much my two neighboring countries, you already run into trouble carrying this. So unfortunately, it's not for everyone, but if you can carry it, I think it's great, and I think it's a great traveling tool. Yes, it's simple. Yes, there are other features I would love to see, such as a pair of scissors. I use scissors on Swiss Army knives all the time. I don't know if that's really weird, but I love that. A saw would be great. If ever these guys come up with a multi-tool, I'm probably buying it, because it's super well made. It's a very nice rubbery texture. If they can do that on the outside of a multi-tool, that would be amazing. So there is other stuff, files, whatever, but I mean, for me, mainly scissors and a saw. Then we're really getting into business. But for now, neat little tools. So you can buy one at La Couronne du Comte, and don't forget that I think Brown 10 is a discount code for 10% off there. And if you forgot the code, you can always go to my website, sbrebrown.com, and there is a page now that lists all the discount codes I have for the various shops. And La Couronne du Comte, thank you kindly for sending me this. That's all there's to it. Now, we need to see the knife in action. That's coming up next. Hope this was useful so far. I'm glad to see you later. Bye bye. Okay, Swiza, let's put it to the test. Now, before we do that, I know that I'm going to get this question, so I'm going to do it now. What's my favorite Swiss Army knife? So far, it's that one, the Victorinox Soldier. I really like it. It's a bigger knife, so that makes it heavier, but I really like the fact that you can open this blade single-handedly. 2/3 serrated, 1/3 plain edge. I would prefer just plain edge, because I don't use serrated knife edges that much, but it is nice, especially for cutting something like cordage. It's just easier, but okay. Has a saw, has other stuff, and has a very comfortable grip. But this is a bigger knife, and we're not reviewing that. We are in fact reviewing this. So let's have a look. One thing that everyone does, and that I should also do, 550 paracord, just simple paracord. Make sure I have it, holding it well. One cut. It's very sharp, so that I like. Works well. Now, it's not a safety knife, but you could be in a situation where you need to cut some seat belts. Right? It is a Swiss Army knife. It is the kind of thing that you could have on you, that you could use for that. It's a little hard to hold this stuff, but I'm going to do my best anyway. And it cuts through there fairly easily. Another thing I always like to know is how good this is at puncturing. Fairly easily, and cuts through it easily as well. So now I'm going to try and do this just holding it with one hand, and you see it does also cut. There's no tension on it then. For those of you who like to do stuff in a reverse cut, so with the cutting blade towards yourself, that's no problem either. So for scraping bark of wood or something, it would definitely work. And as I say, it does penetrate fairly easily. So all of that I like. Another issue, something else that you could do, zip tie. Because these things can be hard to cut. No problem. It pretty much just slides through it. And I kind of like it. That was a bit harder because I had to pinch it, but as you can see it does cut through there with relative ease. And the final thing that something I do cut, bit of duct tape. No problem. I'm going to very carefully cut towards myself, shouldn't do that, but it's the angle I'm in. And again, penetrating power, it's very good, just punctures it. So that's not bad at all. Now I'm going to fold this together. Just want to see what happens when I take that awl, because that is sharp. It just cuts into it. It's not as easy because it's a very small blade, but as you can see, 2 layers of duct tape, it just slides through. So that is an interesting side tool to have on there. Now the final thing I was thinking is, can we put a screw in the wood? Of course it doesn't have a Phillips screwdriver, that's the model that has the screwdriver on it, but it does have a small flathead. It's not a perfect fit in this Phillips screw, but let's see how it fares. There is a small hole in the wood. Just want to see, yeah, there we go. You see, it pressure on there the wrong way. So if I were to screw with this, I would put my finger on there, and then you can definitely make this work. But it is something to bear in mind, because you see, with a bit of pressure the wrong way, you can definitely make that snap on your fingers. Then again, this is very nicely rounded off, so it's really no problem, and it kind of fits in the shape to put your finger there, so that works out. The other way around, can't hold it too low because this is a pretty sharp bit. Yeah, I find it easier to put the screw in with my finger there than to unscrew the screw, but it works. There you have it. Swiza, sorry. Ho ho, Swiza. Cute knife. I can recommend this. I like it. Thanks a lot to Lacquer for sending me this. I appreciate it. I hope this review was useful, and I'll gladly see you later.